Hey, Brannon Beliso here. Welcome. It is Friday, April 22nd, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the West Coast. And this is Success Never Sleeps, where as a collective of small business owners and, of course, martial arts school owners, we find new and innovative ways to create our businesses. Now, in this brave new world, we can all admit collectively that what we did before no longer exists. And if you can embrace that, then you put yourself in a very unique position to be prosperous. Think something like Chipotle, which was a brick and mortar restaurant. Now they're completely digital, takeout, and delivery. So to be able to make that type of shift, can you say Disney? Disney was a big one. Disney through this pandemic, people thought was going to be gone. What did they do? They pivoted online and created Disney Plus. So many of us followed in suit. And when this pandemic happened, we went virtual, right? We were running close to 700 students at one point virtually. And we had no challenge with that. And I'm going to tell you why. And as I share with you, the big theme of today is understanding why. Why are the two school owners coming aboard up around, 430 to 450 students? My good buddy, Andre Mavis from Germany is at 475. Why are we hovering at 475 and about 470 at each location on a path to do $2.1 million today? And that's because we embrace disruption. We embrace gathering data outside this industry and creating something new. I don't want to fix this industry. I don't want to change this industry. We are cultivating something new. Now look at the similarities. When I bring these school owners aboard, you're going to recognize we're all up in the, mid 400s. Something to be said about that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But before I do, I want to thank my sponsors, of course, Market Muscles, Kids Love Life Skills, My Studio, and LC Accounting. Again, very disruptive, very, very cutting edge companies that believe in living from purpose, living from the why. And for me, that's powerful all day, every day. And when we offer ourselves that opportunity to do that, the potential of what we can do with our lives is phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's beyond anything I've ever experienced. And as I go out there and I share this knowledge and I cultivate it with people, I am simply humbled by the process. But so keep that why in your mind. But with that, I want to hold this thought. I'm getting ready to do a presentation at Meta, which used to be called Facebook, and it's on leadership. And the first thing they said to me is, I want you to talk about leadership post-pandemic. Now, we would believe a great tech company like this is a great tech company because they're always innovative. They're on the edge. We know technology is changing in real time. It's no longer 3 months, 6 months out. It's in real time. So the fact that they're going, we want leadership from the viewpoint of post-pandemic, they recognize this is a brave new world. Everything is different. Everything is different, right? So if you can embrace that, our locations have no front desk, no program director. It's all kiosk driven. Everything's QR codes. People are booking trials before they ever walk through our door. We don't even have a phone. We don't use phones anymore. Everything's done through our app, and it's done through a support email and a chat. So things are changing dramatically. And if you embrace that, and you recognize that the potential of what you can do with your business is unlimited. I think the big challenge today is everyone's still trying to do it the same old way. And as Grandmaster Clark said, we're witnessing this spike. People are running through the doors. But guess what? If you still suffer from the same ills, badly written systems, poor staff development, you haven't reviewed your curriculum in 20 years and you teach the way your teacher taught you and his teacher taught him. All those ills that are currently there are not going to save your school. And you're going to watch the drop happen just as quick as you watched the spike. Cool. So let me get in here. We got a lot of good stuff going on. First of all, It's Time Live Believe coming up August 13th through 16th. I've facilitated these events, I don't know how many times. And when you spend 4 days with me, yes, we will cover systems, staff development, culture, social media, setting up your business financially. Sam On is coming out, and I'll share that in a minute. But it's really the personal development of self-discovery in 4 days that really makes this, I'll call it a retreat more than anything, unlike anything in our industry. There's only 11 spots, and we're doing it during the summer this time. So that's going to be pretty cool, because by doing it during the summer, we got better weather. We can do more things outdoor. And as I said, Sam On will be my special guest. Sam On has helped many of us in our industry become millionaires. That I can only put it that way. He's one school owner with 100 and some odd students, but he is a multi-millionaire. Sam is a gem. Sam is somebody I love dearly as a friend, and I'm blessed to be able to work with Sam. And for that is the main reason why I would encourage everybody to come attend this event. And then, of course, my wisdom program. We're in month 4 right now of wisdom, and it is intense. It's probably the most intense work I've personally done. I'm in people's back pocket 24/7, 365. I'm pushing them to their limits as well, because if you're going to grow, it's much like a muscle. If I'm going to grow my muscle, it's only when I lift that weight to fatigue and I overload that muscle do I start changing the shape of that muscle. What's the same thing here? Part of wisdom is really helping you recognize your unlimited potential. So if you spend 6 months with me, I train your team. We've done some virtual trainings. I work with some teams on a weekly basis. I get texts every night. There's tons of reading. There's just so much that goes into it. If you're ready to do that kind of work and you're ready to move your business from where you've been stuck to where you want it to be, wisdom is the program for you. Cool. All right. So what is today's show all about? It's how to get to 450 students. That's what it is. Both the people I'm going to bring aboard and their wives, they did not start at that number. None of us did. But to be able to grow schools to that number and you create the type of revenue you believe, works for your lifestyle is important. I want to make $1 million a location with about a 30% net. That requires me to have a school big enough to house about 400 to 500 students. That's it. That's my business model. I'm not into the smaller model that's always been there, about 1,400 square feet, do 150 students, replicate that 3 to 5 miles away. I love coming into a community with a big footprint. And both these schools have done just that. So it's all about how to get to 450 students. My buddy couldn't be aboard, but I wanted to stop a minute and he gave me a bunch of information. And I love Andre. Andre's from Germany. But this is important because we have a school from California, a school from the UK, and a school from Germany. Look at these numbers. All from different parts of the world, but I'm sharing with you the philosophies I teach, the business practices I teach, the disruptive methods that put service above everything, where I say, and write this down, service is the new profit. If you focus on service, serving your team, serving your clients, serving your community, you put yourself in a very unique position to prosper and prosper at a high level. So one of the things Andre talked about, he's at 475. He said, well, number one, Brandon came in and worked on my curriculum. Yes, Apple mentality, premium product, premium price. Right? If you're constantly investing in bettering your curriculum, you're constantly investing in your team to pay them well and create a lifestyle that can sustain them and honoring them outside of your business and supporting that. If you do that and you create the culture of purpose and intent, you can grow your school to these numbers. Rotating curriculum, systems, culture are some of the things that Andre talked about. And in my conversations with Andre, watching him get to this great point today, I'm just tickled pink. So Andre, I love you, my brother, and I'm so grateful for you. All right. So let's see if we can get some folks in here. Let's admit them all. I'm going to cue this thing up, folks. There's David and Anna Marie. What's happening, you guys? Let's see if I can unmute you. You have to ask to unmute. Yeah, so just watch the noise around you guys, okay? All right. So we got California and the UK. How's everybody doing?
We're doing great. It's
amazing.
Yeah. What's up, Miss T? I haven't seen you in a long time.
Been too long. We're going to see you soon.
Oh, you are? When are you going to see me?
We're going to come to It's Time Live.
Are you coming out in August, Liam?
We're looking at it. Yeah.
Oh,
we're
man.
looking at it.
Well, and the weather's going to be beautiful because it's summertime, right? It's summertime, so it'll be much different. We're going to be able to do more things outdoors, which is what's going to be a huge shift in it. Huge shift. Working outdoors, getting out of an office, getting out of the school, I think some of the best creativity can happen. What's happening, David and Anna Marie? I haven't seen Anna Marie either in a long time. How are you, ma'am?
We miss you. Good to see you.
Man, look at the see, now these are brands. Look at these brands, folks. Look at this. These are brands. And you know me, I'm super passionate about branding, right? And I help both of you guys rebrand your schools. I remember we worked on Liam's rap song. I can still hear it. What time is it? It's time to excel. Yeah, so I still have it in my brain. But
just kidding.
We got to make one for Uplift. Right? There's got to be a song to go with it. And that's just it. I mean, a brand. Let's start there, you guys. And I'm going to let Liam, you and Tia go first. Talk to me about when we hopped into that, when rebranding. What made you shift? Because we know in our industry, people don't care about their brands. They normally use their school, their teacher's patch, and it's not a logo, it's their patch, and they adopt some names that I would never think of. What really made you shift your mind from that fixed mindset to going, oh, I can see the value of a brand? Because that's way forward thinking. You don't see the benefits of a brand for years down the road, right? You really don't. But what made you decide that this was a good investment and you guys were going to go in that direction? Tia and Liam.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've always shared how we learn so much from other industries outside of the martial arts. And when you look at big brands like you talk about Disney and Apple, you really begin to understand their philosophies, the way that they communicate. And we were moving into a new academy. It was the dream of mine from being 15 years old when I created a model martial arts academy at school for my graphic design project. And that was part of my background, is graphic design. So I think I had some talent and experience in making things look good, but I didn't really understand all what goes into branding, such as we worked a lot on our values and knowing what our values are, and then that influencing our brand. And why our purpose were always there to excel in life and help our students do that. But we weren't really communicating it in a way that created consistency and attracted the people that we wanted to attract into our martial arts schools. So developing our brand really helped us improve the experience from the moment students walk through those doors. It's about those 5 senses, as you talk about, Brannon. It's everything is involved in the brand, and it's knowing your values first. I think that was it's key. And we're now doing that again together, is looking at our values as a business and developing that further. And then that influences all the systems and processes, influences all the training. It's hiring the right people from knowing what your brand stands for and the values that you have. So starting there was an incredible place to start for us. And that's definitely one of the keys for us growing to 450 students now through your help.
Cool. Tia, what's your take on all that?
Yeah,
come on.
I know. I'm so excited about what he said. I back it 100%. I think we just became a brand that now when I answer the phones and I ask, how did you hear about us? Everyone's like, how couldn't we hear about you? You guys, from when they drive, they see our fly. It's just that brand is just so known in the community, and through being so positive and word of mouth, it's just, yes, it's just such a strong brand we created, through Excel and just looking at our values of how we can excel and what excel means to us. It was really important too. And we go through that with the team as well. And we talk about, what does excel mean to you? And that is super important to all of us. And I think it shows in the community as well.
Well, and I think once Guy Kawasaki, who was the evangelist for Apple, in the second coming of Steve Jobs, his purpose was to live, teach, and preach. And that's it. So once you understand that why, it is about living, teaching, and preaching it. So ours is live your best life. We answer the phone, live your best life at One Martial Arts. The class finishes. Class, what are you going to go out there and do? Live your best life, sir. Do you guys do that then in class? What are you going to go out and do in class? Excel for life, right? I mean, once you know it, you can live, teach, and preach it. So David, Anna Marie, I want to get personal, right? We know working together, it wasn't just about the brand. I remember a very deep conversation David and I had, and you can share as much as you like, David, but share how that part of it also influenced your decision to make this type of commitment to rebranding and all that.
Wow. Well, thanks for that question. First of all, I just want to say, from a heart level, I have so much love and respect for everything you say and everything you do. We see a lot of what you do, and I'm not always as active online as I wish I was, but you're always active in my mind and active in my sense of purpose. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Both Anna and I feel the same way. I'm going to try not to get emotional when I tell you this too, but your story really resonated with me, because I also I was an orphan. I went through abandonment, and I also was an abused child. And I know your story really resonates because you experienced those things as well. I started a business with no money. We didn't have any resources or anything to lose. So we were in a great position when we started our business. I don't know if I'd be as confident now that we actually have something that we could lose. But when we started, I was 20, and I just turned 20 when we opened our business. And, we had really great success for about 5 years. So we went from like 10 students to about 200 students in like 4 years. So for me being, like 23 or 24, I was really happy with that. And, Anna is a huge part of that. I want to say she's like 90%, I'm 10% because she's the one that makes sure things get done. But to be really honest, we had great success. And then my older brother actually passed away. And I know you experienced also the loss of a sister. And the reason why I'm sharing some of these personal events is because, your story, I read your book, and your story was so much like mine, and I really saw everything you've been through. And when my brother died, then it really took away a lot of my, it took my whole life off course because I was going through grief. And at that time, when you're surrounded by grief, that's one of those things that just is all encompassing, and it prevents you from focusing on what really is great in your life because you're so focused on what's not so great. And I stayed in that place for about 4 years, unfortunately. And we stayed at about 250, 220, 250, 220. We never grew during that time because I realized that, as a person, I'd stopped growing. And Anna, she was there through with it the whole time. She was so supportive of me. But I realized that when I talked to you, because we didn't go down to actually It's Time Live. We went down to a Rainmaker, the ad members tech software seminar. So we went down, and you were just being nice and letting them host it at your school. And so we were just hanging out there, and I talked to you after we got done with that seminar just briefly. And I said, wow, I really like your place. And you told me about, what your purpose was and about the why of One Martial Arts. And then I told you kind of my situation. And you told me, well, so you're saying that, this traumatic event happened. And then you noticed, okay, what did your school numbers do? And I said, well, they flatlined for the past 4 years. We haven't been able to get past 230 or 240. And then you said, well, you asked me how I was really doing. And you made me see the comparison between the two aspects of my life, that the business is a reflection of my personal and mental well-being. And also me being supportive to Anna and, working as a team. And I think at that point I was so kind of surrounded by grief that I just kind of gave up and it was staying stagnant. And then after I talked to you, I said, hey, wait, it's possible to run an ethical business. It's possible to get past grief. It's possible to be successful. And from there, we were on a trajectory. We got to 300, 330, and then COVID happened. And then now we're at about 434. So because, we did institute a lot of things that you talk about, but most importantly, I think it was just the accountability, resilience, and mentorship, having mentorship. So thank you.
No, you're very welcome. And so let's talk about that, Anna Marie. So when we rebranded to Uplift, you can see why at a heart level for David and you, why Uplift became your theme. It became your purpose, coming out of the grief, coming out of the darkness, coming out of being stuck at 220. What was your aha? I mean, to help other school owners out there, when we talk about rebranding, how did you know Uplift was it for you guys?
We tried honestly for like 3 years trying to think of a good name. We had like all kinds of crazy ideas. Cowabunga was an idea.
Yeah, we were just joking. Like the Ninja Turtles, we were like, we should just call ourselves Cowabunga. Because we're like, that'll get people excited.
Yeah, that'll get attention. Like all kinds of ideas. And actually David, just one day he woke up, he's like, I got it. He's like, Uplift, because he went through all of our social media reviews and our
Google metrics. Yelp.
Google,
that was the word that showed up the most in our reviews. Was that it's a really great program, and that the staff, their culture is really uplifting, or that that's what showed up on our Yelp and our Google reviews most often.
Yeah, so we're like, that's perfect, and we just ran with it once we figured out that word. Yeah,
I love it. I mean, I remember when we were going through that in the new school, and David had shot a video when you were expanding, going, okay, so what do you think of this? Believe me and Liam have had many of those videos. I want to do this over here. And, to be able to influence the design and help schools through that. I think it's one of the most overlooked aspects in all schools. But once you have that purpose, once you have that why, social media posts, conversations, everything flows so much easier because it's so, I want to say authentic, because it is authentic. It's transparent and it's real. So Tia, you come from another martial arts school and background, right? So what do you, if you had to compare the difference, because a lot of schools I know are ran like that, right? We come from those schools, you know, they still use their school's patch like a logo. What do you think has really moved you guys to get to the point you're at today? I mean, if you had to, because, you know, we know that, and it's not that we want to bite into other martial arts schools, but we want to show them that, hey, maybe if you stop using a patch as a logo and really give a brand that's not honoring your teacher, but honoring your purpose, that we can make that shit. My dad's was Beliso Karate School. I would never call my school Beliso Karate School, and he was not happy with that. But I had a bigger vision, right? So, Tia, what's your take?
Yeah, I can completely relate. I've come from a very similar background. And I think, just being innovative and just continuing to just adapt with the times as well. I remember when I used to go to my martial arts class, I had an attendance card. And after a year, like by the time I'm a black belt, it was falling apart. And I was earning stripes sometimes just based upon attendance as well. And I look at how martial arts is now with us and how much we've just continued to adapt and continue to change with the times. I think that's a really big one, from just booking into classes and having set days that you come in to train, to just the overall experience. When I try to compare it to where I'm from and just how far martial arts has really come. And it's just, I think in absolutely everything we do, from the systems to the processes to the technology that we use now, it's just, it's completely different in the best way, really.
It is, because I think that whole mentality is, you know, all we want to do is teach, which we know that's not it. But really that experience when people come into our dojos, our schools, our academies, it's different. I mean, we have no offices, we have no front desk. People walk in, attendance, we do attendance to our cell phone. I mean, that's how we're doing attendance, right? Through an app on a cell phone. It is. And I think the thing that's scaring people is they think, someone said, well, that's not good customer service. You don't have a front desk person? I said, no, we don't, because 99% of the people walking through the door are there for class. If they're there for a trial, they've scheduled it online. We've been notified through Slack. So the team and I know that at 4:15, the student's coming in. So we greet them. So, I mean, all of that is unnecessary, which has allowed us to shift that revenue we would be paying a front desk person back into the team, back into bettering the academy, on and on and on. I mean, so it's just a mindset shift. One of the popular places here is called Shake Shack, right? You walk in, it's all kiosk. How many restaurants do you walk in now are kiosk? The other day, my wife and I went to eat, and we went in. Of course, QR codes for menus are very standard now, right? You scan the QR code on the table, and then I looked, and then we paid through our phone. I went, wow, there's the next evolution. Then somebody brought the food. I mean, it's in a 5-star restaurant, that's a different experience. I understand that. But I believe for what we do, whatever people think or whatever fear they have that, well, that's not good customer service, we make up for it tenfold on the mat and in the classes. Do you agree?
Okay. 100%.
Anna Marie, what are 3 things now that we have this technology with your brand of Uplift that you guys are doing that you would share that's different than what anything else in this industry?
Let's see, 3 things that we're doing differently with our brand. I'm not sure. What do you think, Hun?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that we really focused on is our core values. Like I always try to drive these home and when we're teaching, which is mentorship, community, growth, and challenge. I think those are the 4 things that are more powerful, you know, outside of just martial arts. Those 4 things in general are what I think changes somebody's life. So rather than just discipline or respect, those basic things that I think are more kind of external, the core things that we try to offer is more like based on those 4, like once again, just community, growth, mentorship, and challenge. So I think that's been something we do a little different. Also, you know, my wife and I, we're pretty relaxed people. We try to be kind to people. So I think that you know, we're very professional in our business, but we're also trying to be very approachable and very accessible. So nobody feels like, we're definitely important, but I don't think anybody feels like we're in this position where we're more important than them. We're actually, once again, like you always say, we're in a place of service. So whether it's a child, that's 4 or 5, or an adult that's like 65, or a parent that's, in their 40s, then what we tend to do is we try to see everybody as our client, whether it's a parent or even a child or a student. And we really are always putting ourselves in a position of service rather than in a position of, I'm here and you're here. Because we remember, hey, they're the ones coming, like they pay our salary. So,
Well, yeah, that's why I think it's important, because growing up, of course, we look at our teacher like, wow, in awe, right? Like a superhero. So it's very easy to have that dynamic. I'm the master and you're the lowly student, right? And we pay you, we clean your school, we do birthday parties for free, we teach for free and all that. And I remember that painful conversation because, when we talk about staff building, that has to change at some point. TJ and I were having lunch at a mall, and he was on the verge of tears because he was really, it was like he wanted to morph, and we needed to start talking like this, not him seeing me like this. And it partly wasn't my fault. But it was because I didn't have the vision at that time to recognize, wow, he's no longer 8 years old.
Right.
And I'm not his teacher. We're now becoming partners. So I need to lead this conversation. But that was like our aha moment. Here's this kid in his 20s crying, literally crying like he was 8 years old because he didn't know how to talk to me on a business level without thinking he was going to offend me. So that's also where I recognized that cultural shift where I'm not your boss. Don't call me your boss. I'm not your boss. Our clients pay. They're the boss.
Right.
I just distribute the money. We're a team. So we're not big on titles, CEO, all that stuff. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. It never has. I'm not big on titles. That's why Grandmaster, Mega Master. We are a rap group or the KKK. I don't get it. It doesn't work for me. And I know I piss a lot of people off when I say that, but you're right. As long as we look at service and we're here to serve the community and see people, when I said once I'm a servant of the community, they go, wow, that's not very, inspiring. I said, it is. Gandhi served his country. Martin Luther King served his country, right? Desmond Tutu served his country. Mother Teresa served. Nelson Mandela served, right? And they were highly respected people. So once we can do that, you're right. I had that the other day, David. Some after schooler was having a fit and she was just talking back to me. And I stood there and for a minute, my ego went, you want to know who I am? You want to know who I am? Right. And I just booked Meta. So I'm going to speak and I did. I checked myself and then I think I worked 10 times harder to win her over because I wanted to make sure my ego did not overcome our purpose.
Wow.
You ever find yourself in that sometimes, Liam, your ego wants to go above the purpose? Ever?
Yeah, and I think it's asking those questions. Why are we doing this? Does that fit our values? And we've done that a lot through the coaching and mentorship with yourself. And there's things that we stop doing. We've asked that question. What do we stop doing? What isn't in line with our values? And yeah, definitely staying humble. And I've learned a lot about gratitude through you and a lot about mindset that's helped me personally be happier. And it's really, as I've developed myself, it's the school's grown as well.
And I think that's what I love most about the work is I love you guys. You're my friends too. Those relationships happen organically if you're willing to be vulnerable and do the real work. And that real work is tough, right, David? You guys will admit that, Liam, that it's tough work. But when our purpose and our business come together like that, you can't help but look at yourself and your own personal shortcomings and wanting to be a better human being and being a better partner to your wife and just to the community at large, right? So talk about that as a couple. How does this work? How do you get to 450 students, 434? How do you get to that? Because I know there's challenges. Me and my wife, we have those challenges. I couldn't even get her. She doesn't like coming on camera. I said, babe, come hang out with me. She goes, no, I'm not going to come hang out. So, what do you think's the biggest asset, and what could you tell? Because there's a lot of couples that work together in their business. What are the 3 things they should do every day to stay on track, to live from purpose and be successful? What do you think?
I believe, like you shared with me, it's like you asked us a question at It's Time Live a few years back. When was the last time you kissed your wife? And it's those little things every day that make a difference, right? And that's where I think women are different. It's all those little things that add up to big points. It's not like us men want to do one big thing and we think it's going to make a huge difference. Well, it's all those little things done consistently. And I've been on a big journey with that. I mean, as well as Tia moving countries and that a huge step for her, it was quite an adjustment for me from being on my own, building a business, to then having Tia to think about the dynamic of our relationship, having that personal time and connecting with each other, as well as working well together in the business. And I think something that's helped me personally is being able to kind of have 2 separate relationships, if you like, that when we're at the academy, our relationship is quite different. And I'll even maybe have a bit more of a formal chat with Tia, and I'll speak with her just like I do the rest of the team. And I think that's something that Tia's learned to appreciate, that our relationship is different. And then that allows us to have that complete contrast when we are at home. It's lots of cuddles and it got a completely different relationship. So that's definitely
real quick. I think it's also a great example of leadership for our team because it doesn't show any nepotism or favoritism. And that was a big one because my wife has no problem talking to me like, anybody else when we're in meetings and things like that with the PTA or community meetings. And I get that. So that's real important. Write that down, you guys. That's super important because when you're conducting meetings and you're having conversations, I mean, we should all talk together like this. It should never be you're talking down at a team member. If anything, we're talking up to each other and uplifting each other, excelling each other, living our best life, right? It's all about that. It's all about that. But if you can do that, then I believe the sense of accountability, it's an easy pill to swallow. It just is, right? But that's a very good point, Liam. And those are 2 different hats. I'm the same way. When I come home, I don't talk business. It doesn't happen. And that took a lot of discipline. So I sit in the car, I take a deep breath and I go, okay, you're going to walk through that door. Your daughter won't give a shit that you're a professor. She don't give a shit you spoke at Harvard. I come through the door. Hey, I just booked Meta. Papa, rub my feet. Okay. Don't worry. And I sing Bob Marley to her, right? Her big thing is, we watch Harry Potter or whatever. And I give her a little, because she was pretty traumatic as a kid. She was very high strung, through a lot of fits. So I used to sing her to sleep and rub her back and her feet. And now she's 10 and I still got to rub her feet. I still rub her feet and we'll watch, TV together. But going back to that first thing you said, Liam, that a couple years back, how many times have you kissed your wife? Once. Today, right now, in the moment. And if we can do that, that's why I have that sign in the dressing rooms. Treat every student today like it was their first day. Think how much love we give that first day student. Imagine if you do that student in month 3, year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. That's retention. That's this time. This is, you can't quantify that. There's no algorithm. There's no stat. There just isn't. What is the ROI on caring, as Gary Vee said? And people don't get that because we want everything to be data driven. Mm-hmm. And humanism a brand is not purely data driven. So I think that's really important. So give us one, David and Anna Marie. What do you think?
I just wanted to say, I love what you're saying right now too, because I think one of our big things that we really share is that neither one of us cares about impressing people. Our job isn't to impress. Our job is to inspire. And when I saw what you do, and I see that that's really what you're about, then I think that's something that we really share. And going back to that, I think Anna and we look for surrounding ourselves with people that share the same values as us. I think that's one thing that we're really lucky, is that we both share very similar values. I think Anna does a better job of us upholding them. I'm the one that has to work at it sometimes more. But ideally, we share the same values, and And I think that we also complement each other well. Anna's good at thinking. I'm good at speaking. She's good at getting stuff done. I'm good at coming up with ideas. She's good at executing. I'm good at, dreaming. And so we're very fortunate to have that combination.
Cool. So that's the kumbaya, you guys. Let's get dirty now. Let's get down. What are 3 systems or processes or social media posts or events that you do that you think has really moved? Curriculum design. What do you think? What do you think are the 3 main reasons why your schools are getting these kind of numbers today?
I think scaling. I think one of the biggest things we did is that I think for our company to grow, and for us to have made that jump from 220, which I think a lot of schools get stuck at 150 to 200, is that I think for us, we had to get a team in place, and we had to not waste, but we had to invest a lot of money into salaries and training people and giving them actual jobs. We pay most of our staff 20 to 25. Our goal is to get them all to 25 an hour, but the average wage for our staff is over 20 an hour.
Which is very good for your part of the state, which is very good.
And we work hard for that. And, our beginning kids, they make at least 15 and they're just like 14 or 15 and they're just, standing around helping in class. So we try to pay them well. But when we started to scale, we had to have like way too many staff because we were thinking about if we want to grow, we already have to have a team that's going to be proficient before we grow. So I think a lot of times schools might wait until they have enough students to scale. But I think you need to do the opposite. You need to get a little bit overstaffed and over prepared first for you to make that next step. So I think that's one thing we did. And then Anna, do you want to kind of talk about like the back end, all the office stuff that you've done?
Well, I think just, embracing technology and, not getting stuck in just doing like paper receipts for everything, like, how it was done before when we were, working for other people and things, being able to be like, okay, this is the way we need to keep moving forward and keep finding new ways and better ways to do things. So, and just embracing technology and all of those things really helps move you forward.
And I was like one of the first people to get on like Ad Members, Rainmaker when it came out, and then she transitioned to My Studio. Now she's with Pulse. We used Market Muscles. So I think just embracing all those things really helped us a lot because they're things that I originally, I was thinking, well, like, do we have to, because I was like, what we did was okay. And then she said, no, like, I think that's helped us just going back to a relationship is knowing when to listen, a lot of times if Anna has a decision, I'll usually be like, oh, well, this is how I feel, but what you're saying makes sense. So I think we should do what makes sense. So,
I think, the big thing with technology, and I want to touch upon that really quick, is we have to deal with the shortcomings. There's always updates. There's always glitches. Anyone who's willing to experiment, that's how you move the needle quicker, better, and faster.
Yeah.
And I see the frustration at the different groups. Oh, well, they're not doing this and they need to do this. And, but technology doesn't work that way. And if you're a tech savvy person, you recognize that and you're cool with that process. I mean, where my studio is today to where they were 2 years ago is light years. Where Market Muscles is today compared to 3 years ago is light years. And if you're okay with that process, then you put yourself in a very unique position, right? To do that. Like we just, again, went to another level in belt testing. Belt testing is paperless for us. We have no paper, zero. At the beginning of our testing cycle, everybody gets updated in My Studio to their next rank. We print certificates for everybody. We pull belts for everybody. And us, we do 6 stripes on a belt. Then we have a Sharpie and we walk around and we sign stripes throughout the month. And then people are being promoted. So at the end of the month now, we're going to have a handful of certificates that are not handed out because they didn't finish belt testing. So now admin can go back, contact the parent, private lesson, whatever needs to happen. Because they're going, well, why don't we print certificates as we go along when people get promoted? Because we're going to miss a whole slew of people that will not get promoted. And so it's more efficient not having front desk people. We have one house that does both schools. So they print all the certificates, get all the belts pulled, boom, 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 boom. And so at the end of the month, we'll have a handful of certificates and belts of people who didn't get promoted. So that's going to help in that system. Just like you've seen my visual system of inventory with the line across the plastic bin. So when it makes sense because visual inventory is a hell of a lot faster than counting everything. So if my team can look up and see the uniforms are below the red line on the clear plastic bin, guess what? We need to order. See, because in our system now, you sign up for membership through the app, you come in and you just take a uniform from the pro shop. There's nothing discussed. because you get a free uniform in the first month. Someone wants a t-shirt, they go right to the pro shop on their own, scan the QR code on the t-shirt, and they take it. It doesn't touch anybody's hand. Or better yet, they go into the app because their credit card is in the app. They buy the t-shirt and they grab and go. It's that simple. But creating those type of processes, which truly frees up the team to do what you want them to do. I don't want to pay you top dollar to inventory my belts. I want you to teach. Mm-hmm. Right? I need you to teach. And we're at a point right now because of that. We're still not doing birthday parties. We're still not doing parent night out or any of that. And we just came off our best quarter ever, which is making us evaluate, do we need to do parents' night outs? Do we need to do birthday parties, right? Does that really need to happen? Not according to the data of the first quarter. So again, I think technology, leveraging that is super important. So what else, Liam, Tia? Well, what are some nuts and bolts,
I started writing just like 3 points on here and then it just went a bit crazy with all the things that I've learned from you, Brannon. So I'm just incredibly grateful for all the teaching lessons that I've learned from you. And the top 3 would be definitely curriculum design. As you say, it's like good food in a restaurant and making sure there's consistency there. You invest the time to write the curriculum and then it creates that consistent experience that you can train your team on to deliver. And going into detail, a little bit more detail on curriculum, first of all, is separating the levels or creating levels with 3 belts per level, designing the curriculum to cater for that middle belt in that level. So it's not too challenging for the first belt in that level and not, boring or too easy for that third belt. And I think, students love that. Kids love that with the progression of like gaming and things going to the next level. It's also the stripes. We do the exact same thing with the 6 stripes. It's very clear on what students need to demonstrate and how they need to demonstrate the curriculum in order to earn their stripes. And a new motto that we created together was no one gets left behind. So we know previously we lost students through those little mistakes of poor communication or poor expectations of progress. And, telling a student they're not ready to test, too close to testing, where this makes it very clear for the student, for the parent, for the coaches, the instructors, where a student is at through those stripes. Sparring, years ago, we used to throw students into sparring and doing like straight away. So now we know how important it is. When you've been doing martial arts for such a long time and you can't remember those days of first starting sparring, or you were chucked in the deep end and you learned quickly. But like so many people get put off that way. And that used to be a stage of training where we used to lose a lot of students, and that's not the case anymore. So it's, being smarter in how we teach sparring drills at an earlier stage. They've now got 8 months of sparring drills before they even start more free sparring. Yes. And then they're doing lots of drills. We review the curriculum every 4 months. So we're constantly improving it and developing it further. So that's helped us. We had too much curriculum in one way. We were trying to fit too much into a class and rushing the delivery of it. And then the other side of that is we didn't have enough time spent on the actual curriculum that the students were working towards to earn their stripes. So we changed that, and that's really helped improve not only the experience for our students, it's also improved the standard of the martial arts that we're seeing every cycle, every year. The standard of the martial arts that we're delivering is so much better. We're seeing it improve every time. As we're growing students, the quality of the martial arts is improving too.
Yeah.
Are you signing the stripes like we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that, see, when I write these systems, I don't write them for me. I write them for the team and the parent, because the parent can look at the belt and say, oh, 3 of my kids' stripes are signed. What should they practice? Oh, stripe 4, 5, and 6, blue, red, brown. Great. Open the app, stripe. And it's that simple, right? It was the whole thing with the inventory was okay, we're doing this inventory all the time. What a waste of freaking time. So just by getting a clear plastic bin, putting in 6 uniforms, putting a red line above it and go, okay, when it goes below that line, we order. It's that easy. But see, you have to write those systems for the team, right? And you're not living your best life if you got to pull down everything and count every belt and count every uniform. What a waste of time. It doesn't, if you're sitting with a binder of papers during belt testing, or that worst conversation, your kid finished testing, you need to go pay the fee. Oh, that is not Disney at all. You know, we have organically just worked testing, fees into our tuition, right? Premium product, premium price. That's what Apple says. Premium product, premium price. We don't have specials. We don't have $19.99. We don't even, you do one trial class and then it's a regular membership. Somebody asked me that the other day. Well, that's not cool. No, you know what's not cool? The longtime loyal member who pays you top dollar, knowing that this is a new student special. And so they're getting a lower rate for the first month. That doesn't cut it. Does Apple do that? Hey, it's my first time buying a MacBook Pro. Can I get it cheaper from you? So think about that. But do you have that confidence, you guys? Right? If you're investing in your curriculum, you're investing in your team, you're doing those things. I believe you have that confidence to say, this is what we're worth. This is who we are. And it's not ego, because if you're doing the work, there's nothing egotistical about doing the work, right? None. So what else you guys want to add to that as we wrap this thing up, as we get close? What would you tell that school owner stuck at 200, wanting to get to that level? What was the one aha moment that you went just, whoa, I get it now because I've been stuck here for a long time. I get it.
I'd say just adding to that, Brannon, is that going back to once you've got your values and your why, and that really helps guide you in all your decisions, as well as asking what's best for the student and designing systems for the students rather than you thinking, right, I'm doing it this way because this is the way it needs to be done, or this is the way it's always been done. It's really continuing to develop things, develop systems and processes. So it's really for the best experience for the students.
Mm-hmm.
I think just having our curriculum laid out too. I know that you're introducing people to rotating curriculum or block curriculum, but we have like a very organized curriculum. I don't know if you can, here you go. So
Yeah,
you can see a little better. But yeah, we try to keep everything very organized so our staff knows exactly what they need to teach and what needs to be worked on, and broken down by weeks. So I think that definitely that's helpful, is having a structured curriculum that can take somebody from Tiny Tiger through, an adult advanced, program, so they can be here a long time. All the way through like instructor training, all those things. I think that's been helpful. I think also flexibility is one of the big things too. Outside of structure, which is important, also having flexibility. And that's one thing I really appreciate that I see your message is sometimes you'll pivot and you'll say, all right, this is what I think. And then sometimes you'll go back and revise that and be like, well, actually, I think this is what's better. And then, you might revise it in another year. And I think a lot of times people get stuck. They think that this is the way I said it, so I'm going to stick with that forever. Even if it's wrong, because I said it, I'm going to try to prove that it's true rather than find out that it's not the best way and then pivot and try something else. So I think flexibility to figure out what's working rather than just where your pride is at.
Well, yeah. And I think that's one of the big dogmas of our industry that continues to plague us and destroy us and kill us. I had guys telling me in the first month or two of this pandemic, man, nobody wants to train virtually. It'll never happen. No one wants virtual. It can't be. And I remember me and Liam going over equipment together, right? When it first happened, because we understood you don't know. Again, data, the last thing we had was the Spanish flu and influenza, 3 years, right? So we knew that, well, technology is better today. Yeah, but that's data. So I can say this can happen from now to 3 years. Where are we? It's still here, right? In many ways, the pandemic's still here. So that data was useful, but because you both had a why, right? Very clear. I don't care if it's on a rooftop, a parking lot. We're still teaching outdoors in San Francisco, as well as indoors, as well as virtual, because it doesn't matter where we do it. It's why we do it. It's all about living your best life. And purpose-driven companies have not only survived this pandemic, they have found a way to thrive. where we've lost, I think, 35% of our industry now because of that. But you're right, David. I think that's the biggest thing. And people often say to me, I'm wishy-washy. No, I'm fluid. Like Bruce Lee said, be like water. When in a cup, become a cup. You got to be fluid, especially in today's times. But it's that ego that's I think the death. Why 1% of the population does martial arts when we believe everybody should do martial arts, right? Everybody should.
Yeah, we never closed one day, so we're really proud that we were able to pivot during COVID. We maintained normal business operating hours, basically, whether it was online or outdoor or some combination. Because how California kept changing different standards for what was allowed. So some days they give us like 5-hour notice, and it was going to take place the next day. You remember that, right? And so then we'd have to pivot. But I think just the ability to constantly have good communication, which goes back to Anna, organizing the right systems in place for us to communicate well with our families. But then the main thing was just not shutting down. I think that, that's what killed a lot of schools, was like being closed 1 day or 2 days. Once you're closed 5 days, I think that really, is what put a lot of schools out of business.
Well, I mean, we became the beacon of light for so many people. So many parents said, you were the one consistent thing for my child through this pandemic. The sense of normalcy came from you guys. And I think the greatest thing, as we came out of this pandemic, we learned to teach at a higher level because it was virtual, that now when we're teaching in person, it's like freaking Jedi stuff. So we're actually going to reshoot all of our curriculum videos. We're revamping everything again. And we're going to reshoot everything from white belt through. New curriculum videos come next year because we're teaching at such a higher level. Because if you could teach virtually at a super high level, the translation in person to have the physicality mixed with that virtual teaching, it's another level.
We've been using virtual classes for staff training. So if an instructor wants to become a classroom instructor, we typically start them off having to lead virtual classes first, because there's a lot less classroom management, but more just organization. And we found that that's been really successful, is making our instructors in training kind of do more online work, and get used to just leading a class online before they're actually in front of live bodies.
And it's powerful. We're in belt testing right now. Kid came in yesterday and said, Professor, I made up stripes. I did my makeup stripes for yellow and orange, and I got them signed by Sifu Bender online. Can you put them on my belt and sign them? Awesome. That works all day for me. The 15-minute virtual privates, those work all day long. Staff training, we do a lot of it online now. So Tia, what do you want to tell people?
I'm just, with everything you said, even just going back to the virtual and just being so committed on our values, it just kind of brought me back when we were talking about it, because in the UK, we just heard you cannot leave your house. And I was like, Liam, that's it. We're taking all the furniture out and we're painting Excel in the house. We're doing it here. Even if we don't have to leave, the picture frames are coming down. This is a mini dojo now. We'll paint it back. But we love what we do, and we're so committed. And the value is number one for us, that we're willing to do whatever it takes. And with the virtual, we've come so much better as well with tonality and teaching. And we got to connect so much better with students, even getting to know their pets and their favorite toys, things that I never really thought about traditionally teaching martial arts. We've connected to each other so much more. When the students come in, you can say, oh, how's your dog? Oh, how's your new kitten? And it's actually made the experience so much better in so many ways. So we're finding the positives from COVID, really. And we're doing better than ever now that things are getting back to normal here. So we're definitely finding the positives from COVID for sure.
Great minds think alike. And I remember that conversation where I said to the team, when did we ever allow it into people's homes? We're in their kitchens, their dining rooms, mom's cooking in the background while these kids training. We have never been in that intimate environment ever. Let's 10X that thing. Let's go after. And you're right. You cover facing the, plant over here. And everything became that because we were in their homes. So our level of awareness and technicality was tenfold. The tonality, like you said, even what we said, we no longer could sneak in, you need to do a better job because mom's right there. Everything would be at this level, at this higher level. And it's translated. we're all so much more positive when we teach. And I think that gratitude Liam talked about at the beginning, we are so grateful for the students in our school that stuck with us, the students that stay with us. I know for a lot of people out there that function strictly from Facebook ads, leads, that they can't grasp that. But, I'll leave you guys with this and you can add your 2 cents. I remember one night we're having the fires in California and we were completely shut down. And I came home one night, my kids were just chilling, playing. My wife, and I looked at my wife, I said, "You're not worried about any of this shit?" She looked at me, she says, "No, you got it."
Wow.
And that's it though. But I'm saying you earn that through consistently. That's what your parents said to you. Your students said to you, "You got it. I know you do," because you consistently deliver from your why at such a high level in every shape, way, and form. Trust is the last true form of marketing. There's not a Facebook ad or an algorithm that will ever quantify for the level of trust that you're earning. And like you guys are experiencing, Liam, until you're saying it, wow, who doesn't know Excel, right? Everybody knows. The referrals come in, people, because it's becoming a movement almost. People are gravitating towards you in a way that you've probably never experienced before, that would have never existed for either of your schools until you created this great brand, live from purpose, core values, all the things you spoke of. Yeah. Okay. So one last thing. What do you want to tell people as we exit?
I'd say really something that you've taught me is to define your own version of success. Mm-hmm. That is something for me. Years ago, I was just that competitive nature in me, just wanted to grow the school and help more people. But I didn't really think about why I was doing all of that and what I really wanted, and to think about my reasons why as a person and what I want in life and what's important to me as well. So really getting clear on what your vision is and what you want for life can really help increase your why and help you get there. So we know that our vision is 500 students by the end of this year. And we know exactly what that looks like, exactly what we need to do to get there. And I think just not just saying, we want more students and keep just kind of growing more and more. It's there's so much more to that. It's about you being happy as a person and knowing your own version of success.
Yep. How about David and Marie?
I think very much like what Liam said, defining our own version of success. And I think that one of the things that we also try to always remember is that we're more in the leadership business, not just the martial art business. So in that sense, I think that we were lucky to have a leadership expert speaker come in from UC Davis, and she shared some 4 core values for like internationally, known as leadership. And the 4 core values are positivity. That's one of them. Number 2 is hope. Number 3 was compassion. And number 4 was reliability or stability. And she said those 4 things are kind of universally what makes an effective leader. So I think for us, those are things that we really try to hold important to us and pass those things on to our staff. And I thought that was really helpful when she put it in those easy to remember 4 terms. And I think most of all, just what you said, most importantly, I just wanted to say thank you, because, you taught us a lot about just resilience and how to have hope and accountability. And also, I just wanted to make sure that I wrote down, success for us wasn't technical. It was personal. So a lot of times people look for an easy fix. But, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of times you can give somebody the direct system you used. You can give them exactly the service you used. But if they don't do the personal work, then it's not going to work. So it has to be, success is not technical, it's personal.
Very cool. So people, stay with me and we'll wrap up the show. But I asked that question. I'm going to ask you again. How many times did you kiss your wife today?
Not
That's it, Liam? What the heck is that? The heck is that? You guys, I'm the same way every morning, but see those little habits. Atomic Habits is a great book. If you haven't read Atomic Habits, read it. Like clockwork, My morning ritual is the same. I meditate, I journal before I ever get out of bed. I get out of bed, I turn on the coffee machine because I make lattes for my wife and I every morning. But every morning I kiss my kids, I kiss my wife, and they go to school. And, Kim goes teaches a virtual class. Every night, no matter what my wife does, before she goes to bed, she kisses me. And it doesn't have to be, music and, it's just, I acknowledge you. And if we can do that with our students with hello at the front door, right? I mean, we're not talking about swapping spit and tongues here, okay? I'm going to get gross from me. I'm talking about, I acknowledge you. That simple. I acknowledge you. And if we can do that with each and every person, parent, kid in our school, I mean, the potential to grow. You're witnessing it yourselves organically. You're going, look what's going on here. How the heck? Like you said, it is all the little things. So I want to thank you guys so much. I love all you guys. And hopefully, man, you guys come in August. That'd be an awesome treat. You guys should come down, David Anne. You got a team now. Come spend 4 days. It'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you. Thank you. Folks, that was pretty cool, right? Wasn't that just the coolest? And when I'm blessed to be able to impact people's lives like that on a personal level, I got to tell you, I feel it. I'm almost at the verge of tears because at the end of the day, when you put a rich man in the ground, you put a poor man in the ground, they go in the ground the same freaking way. And I've never based my self-worth upon how many zeros are in my bank account. It's not, but please don't mistake me when I say that, right? If I don't make the money I make, I cannot take care of my family. I cannot take care of my team and help them fulfill their dreams. And I cannot impact my community. So one of our core values are to be a fiscally responsible business. That should be a given. And you should never feel guilty for taking your art, which you're really great at, and turning it into a sustainable, growth-oriented business. And David said that so well, which is an entrepreneur mindset. You have to be able to scale and monetize your business. And if you can't do that, then you will never grow. And to leave you with that, I mean, experiencing that in our industry where, people are so petrified to increase their tuition. You should have no challenge with that. You should raise your tuition every year, just like cost of living. But that alone is one of the mindsets I believe suffers in our industry. You have somebody that's been paying you the same rate they paid you 9 years ago because they've been with you for 9 years. Well, guess what? They still shop at that same supermarket they've been at for 9 years. That meat price has gone up, milk's gone up, everything's gone up. The same gas station they've used for 9 years to fill up their car. They're still going there, and they're probably paying up to $6 a gallon. But because of our mindset, we suffer. We don't have that entrepreneurial mindset. We don't have that vision mindset. We're afraid to pivot, adapt, to grow, and to invest in our team. My team is not an expense. Paying my team is an investment. And that's the way a lot of great companies look at it. So like David's saying, don't wait to get the students to hire the team. Invest in that team now, and it will help grow your school. I believe that. I shared that. Our payroll went up to 60% last October, and people thought I was nuts, but people needed back, raises that they didn't get during the pandemic, and they needed, the substantial raises going forward. Some of my team got a 25% increase. And now, guess what? My payroll's back down to 30%, and we're back to normal. See, so view your team as an investment. All the different things we shared aren't really things that came from within our industry. They're things I learned outside, studying Apple, Disney, Zappos, Facebook, companies like that. They really are, because a culture-driven business, a purpose-driven business will always endure. Read Good to Great by Jim Collins. Read things like that. And if you can do that, potential is unlimited. Cool. All right. Man, that was so much fun. Was that fun? I think that was just so fun. So again, please let me thank my sponsors as always, My Studio, Market Muscles, Kids Love Life Skills, and LC Accounting. Thank you so much because you allow me to get to do what I do. Please think about joining me for It's Time Live Believe. That's August 13th through 16th. We currently have only the 4-day experience open. There's only 11 spots left. If you're ready to do the kind of work that Liam and David them have done with me, really, really think about that. Think about investing that time and joining me for wisdom. Wisdom is my most ambitious work to date, and it's something I'm extremely proud of. But it is the personal work that we do together that I believe I offer, which is extremely unique and will benefit anybody, and everybody that chooses to do that. Cool. Hey, folks. I am Brannon Beliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you to Liam and Tia Richards. Thank you to David and Anna Marie Jung. I'm grateful for you. Until we talk again, please, you go out there and live your best life.
Yeah.